What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And today, my wonderful guest is the fabulous and sparkling Michael Rosenberg. How are you, Michael?
I'm excellent, Gary. Yeah, feeling really good today. Happy to be here.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, we're gonna have some fun. I'm just gonna fire off your bio real quick so people know who we're playing with. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Cool, biz. All right, everybody. This is Michael Rosenberg. Michael is a transformational speaker and coach, inspiring people to embrace their most authentic selves so that they can live a life that feels aligned and true. After many years of burnout and internal suffering, Michael took the greatest leap of faith in 2020 and went all in on himself. He left his 11-year corporate sales career and embarked on a global journey to reignite his passion and discover his true calling. 4 years and 14 countries later, Michael now guides others who feel stuck in unfulfilling careers and disconnected from their purpose to break free from limiting beliefs, embrace faith, and take consistent, aligned actions toward fulfilling a life that reflects who they truly are. Michael believes that to truly know oneself, we must follow the call of the heart and connect with our unique inner guidance. And Michael, that's pretty freaking awesome, bro. That's some good stuff right there, man.
Thanks, man. It took me 4 years to come up with that.
And it only took me 30 seconds to read it, so that's
You
pretty
look at
good.
that. We're condensing
Right?
time already.
We're on fire right now, bro.
Yeah, we are.
So listen, Michael, again, I really appreciate you being here. I've looked through all your stuff. You're doing some killer stuff. I love your story. We are the What If You Could podcast. So if you don't mind, I'd just like to, see if you could share if you've had a what if you could moment, if there's a what if you thought could for folks. If you want to share that, that'd be great.
Yeah. I love this question. I think I used to think about this question without even knowing that I was thinking about it after hearing it from you. And the immediate what if I could moment in my past that pops up in my mind that changed my life is I said, what if I could travel the world? And I never thought that I could because working in a corporate career and going through the daily struggles and trying to maintain life and stability and all the things us humans become concerned about. Uh, I used to watch certain friends travel online and really admire it and be really kind of jealous in a way. And I used to say, well, maybe I could travel the world if I have $1 million one day. I could just take off for a year and go. Maybe that would be it. But it was just a pipe dream. I never thought it was possible. And I got to a point in my life where I worked on myself enough and also became burnt out enough with where I was, where I decided to go all in on my dreams and make it a reality. And it actually turned into 4 years of travel. I feel I lived an entire lifetime in those 4 years and learned more than my whole previous life combined. And if I look at that in context of today and where I'm at and what I'm looking to help people with is I want to give my experience back to the world and help people. What if I could help people know, create a deep knowing within themselves that they actually can do whatever they want and live the life of their dreams? It's a reality. If you're willing, it's possible.
That's epic, brother. I love that, man. I love that. And God, who doesn't dream of that? Who doesn't dream and just say, nah, fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm leaving, and Tony Robbins said a long time ago, I listened to something that Tony Robbins said, he does his retreats on, in Fiji. I think he bought an island in Tahiti or Fiji or something like that. And he's doing retreats, and these people would come there. They'd pay all this money. They'd get all excited, right? And they go, "Man, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to kill it. Going to make all this money, and then I'm going to come back here and retire." And the Fijian people just go, "Dude, why don't you just stay now? I mean, why do you need to go do all that? I mean, you're already here. Just stay. What do you need?
Yeah.
And they would just go, what? So like what you did, you just go, you know what? This isn't working anymore, bro. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go do this. I mean, was there like a catalyst, or was there one finally like, ah, shit, I'm out of here, or just you just one day picked up and said, I'm leaving.
Yeah, it was a gradual buildup, but one of my favorite quotes that I live by is life is now. And I took that to heart from a transformational training that I did back around 2017. And at that time, we'd come in like a group training and everyone's kind of stuck in their ways and how they see life and really limiting themselves without even knowing it, not being able to see our blind spots. And my path has always been something that's unorthodox compared to the traditional societal path of, okay, go get a major, go get a job, get promoted, retire, and then go into your golden years where then you can do what you want and live your life. And I used to think, you know what? I don't know if I'm even going to be alive then. I don't know where my knees and body are going to be at then. And travel is on my heart right now. It's really what I want to do. I didn't have a relationship tying me down. I lived in an apartment. I leased a car. And I said, man, I better do this now while I can. And I didn't know how I was going to do it at all. But I just jumped in and developed a lot of faith. I wrote a letter to God and I said, God, I read it out loud in my first YouTube video. I said, God, guide me. I'm all yours. I'm going all in. Show me the people, the places, the resources, the financial resources, the geographic locations, everything I need to mold me into the man that I'm meant to become and connect me with my purpose or my calling on the other side of this, because I was always a guy who was searching for purpose. And I have a lot of different beliefs around what purpose is as of now. But over 11 years, I just burnt out in this corporate sales environment that was very results driven. A lot of it was inauthentic to me. It felt like I was overworking constantly without the results that I wanted. And I was constantly searching for my self worth and validation. When you sell, you're better in the eyes of your bosses and your company and all that. But I eventually realized that, like, yo, I'm not even money motivated. I'm like a passion motivated guy just trying to reignite his passion and feel life again. And so I had what I would call a spiritual awakening that started in around 2015, 2016, and it just became this breadcrumb trail. It's like life just started lifing in a different way, and God started laying out interests, activities, people, new places to go, things that I became very interested in. And for me, that was the spiritual path. I was like, man, what's spirituality? I want to know what faith is for me. I never believed any versions of faith that anyone had ever given me or anything with religion. So it became this self discovery path where I just kept saying yes to the things that excited me and lit me up. And it all culminated in this moment in 2019 where I was swimming with wild dolphins in the middle of the ocean on a 7-day retreat. And I came back to the shore and I was so moved by this experience of dozens of dolphins swimming around me. And I was looking out at the horizon and I just said, I want more of this in my life. I want to feel alive like I do now. And I looked to my friend and I just said, I'm done. I'm not going back to corporate. I'm going to travel the world. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And the rest is history.
That's epic, man. Those dolphins, dude, trust me, they're magical creatures, the dolphins. My wife and I are big time divers, and we've swam with all sorts of stuff. She swam with some amazing creatures. But gosh, you brought up so much stuff there that really touched me. Passion motivated. It's just so awesome because we're all so dead inside. It's like, you even I ask people all the time because this is what I do. What's your passion? And it's such a difficult question to answer, right? I mean, what's your passion? It's just like, I don't know, but I love that term, passion motivated. I mean, when you started this, you were what, 37, right? You just dumped this at 37?
Yeah,
Did you
37 is why I
did,
left.
did you see it? I mean, were you like, or were you completely blindly searching, or did you see it like, I'm gonna get over the hump, and I'm gonna start doing this, or was it totally blind?
It was blind, and I was more following an inner feeling, an inner knowing that I should keep on following in the direction of what lights me up, of personal development, transformation. It's just what naturally took my interest. And this is what I share with people is we all have this inner blueprint, if you will, within us. Our soul carries it within us. It carries our roadmap to life, and it's going to be different for everyone and unique to us. Most of us just are not connected to it because no one ever taught us how. And there's so much influence from societal expectation and our pasts and everything that shaped us. So as I started to become more in tune with that, I had no idea where I was going. I was just like, yo, I'm a seeker. I don't know why. I just am. I'm a seeker. Like I like these spiritual books. I want to know what spiritual masters were about. Like I was infatuated with mysticism. The first thing that came to me was the book The Secret, and then the next thing was like a therapist that was helping me open my heart and moving energy within me, and I was like, what is that? First time I ever felt that. Transformational training, then plant medicine came in, different psychedelic plant medicines, like lots of tools on my path, and I didn't know where any of it was going. But the whole time, I was obsessed with this idea of purpose because I was always so miserable with what I was doing for work and my time. I felt dead inside. And I'm a guy like I didn't just decide I'm passionate. I was the guy who never knew what my passion was. I
Okay.
lost it early in as a kid, and it just started to naturally reawaken within me, and I was always like, what do I want to do? What's my passion? I don't know. I don't know. But I thought there must be this purpose that if we connect with it. And my idea back then was like, it'll be in a job, it'll make me a lot of money. I love what I'm doing. I had a very particular like picture of it. But I was always waiting for that thing to come and find me. And it just never did. And I continued to suffer. But this seeker path, which really just like it was faith. I was like, I want to know what faith is. I kept following it, led me to this, edge of the cliff with these dolphins. And then that's when it hit me. And I was like, duh, I've always wanted to travel. I just didn't think it was possible. And so I actually went back after that trip and I spent a year mentally preparing. First, I spent 2 weeks just to see if the feeling got stronger, and it got stronger. I was like, yo, this is it. And I started researching like what travel vloggers are, and I got a little camera equipment and started testing that out. And yeah, it just took me to the edge and I jumped.
That's awesome. You keep touching on faith,
Hmm.
and I mean, is there a specific faith? Is it like, dude, I just went all in on all of them. I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Taoist, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Muslim. I mean, I interview a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people that are like, I'm all of them. I'm not one of anything. I'm all of all the faiths. I'm like, all right, walk me through that. But for you, you've mentioned faith a couple times. Is there a specific faith? How did you find it? What is it doing for you?
Yeah, I love this question. And it's true what you say with these people who have said, I'm kind of all of them. It's kind of how I feel. For me, well, first, I was raised Jewish. I'm a Jewish guy. I don't really follow religion in any sense. I am proud of where I came from and my lineage and the Jewish people and all the history that it holds for sure. But as a kid, religion never made any sense to me. And I kind of pushed it away, as a lot of people do. And I went into nothingness. I just said, well, I'm agnostic. Well, I'm atheist. Well, I don't really know what I believe in. I have no idea. I think it was the willingness to discover what it meant to me, faith. And I think it was this therapist who was a teacher of mine that kind of posed that question to me that became like my guiding light to myself. When I look at faith, I've gotten to form my own relationship with faith, and I believe we all do as humans because we're all aspects of God. I was very triggered by the word God. Many people are triggered by that word. Even when you talk about spirituality these days, there's 1,000 different versions of it. But along my path, as these teachings and different activities came in, I started to just take a little bit on as my own. I said, I like this here. I like this here. This is a great teaching here. This feels good. And that became my philosophy: take what resonates and discard the rest. But when I say an awakening started to happen to me, something shifted in my consciousness where I was no longer believing or trying on a belief. I felt something that I could not see that was ingrained within my very being that was guiding me that I could never explain. And synchronicities started showing up in my life left and right, where these too good to be true coincidences happen. You're thinking about something one moment, and then life just gives it to you in the next, or you get a phone call, and it's like, I was like, wow, it's magical how this happens. And I loved the magic. You know, when I was in sales, I used to kill myself working so hard, like with no results. As I got more into spiritual practice and doing things I enjoyed on the side, sales just started falling in my lap left and right. And I became the number one sales rep on my team regionally by working less without even trying. So it's like as the evidence showed up in my life, I'm like, yo, this is God, spirit, universe, whatever name I want to put to it right now. This higher power, this unseen force that has me. Like a romance, it has me. I want more of it. I want to seek more of it. So it's like the more I spoke to that force, the more that that force helped reveal who I was and put things in front of me on my path that felt right for me. So even to this day, people are like, "What's your faith?" I'm like, I can't define it or put it in a box because my whole life I hated boxes. You know, I used to be in these worlds even with the jobs, and they'd be like, do it this way, you'll be successful here. Everything has a name, a title, a box, and humans have this innate need to explain everything and make it finite. And I'm like, that's not what God is. Like, God is so big, way beyond us. Why would we try to define it? That's how I look at it today. And that force is the most important guiding light in my life, my favorite thing. And it keeps on laying out magic ahead of me.
Yeah, that's epic, brother. I mean, you know, my wife's 21 years sober, and one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people trying to go into sobriety with AA and stuff find is they they tell you to go to your higher power. You just one last time, man. You got to get up one last time. So many crash and burn missions. Just find yourself in these horrible things, and you just want to get out, right? So you go to this highest power, and a lot of people are tough with God. Like the word God, just organized religion and stuff like that. It just doesn't work for them. So they struggle with finding their higher power, and it could be it could be a doorknob, it could be that mountain, it could be that tree, that flower, it could be anything you spiritually feel it being that you could give the power to. You know what I mean? So when you look at all these different faiths, I've been reading a lot about Taoism,
Mm.
and it's just like, wow. When you talk about flow, shit, man, that's just so Taoism. It's like when you stop forcing things, that flow kicks in, and all of a sudden it's like, and you feel that. So when you were feeling this flow, was that tugging you more towards, all right, I'm out of here, man. This is pulling me
Yeah.
away from this shit.
I love what you said, man, with faith and flow. I've actually never put those two words together. And I'm like, but of course, faith and flow go hand in hand. And also, you just made me think of this when I think of faith, it's that I don't have to do this alone, nor are we supposed to do life alone. So even in like a recovery program, a 12-step program, whether it's that or you're just trying to get through a hard day or find some light in your life, if you feel disconnected from everything, it can seem like doom. But when you practice any kind of faith and it becomes real enough to you where you know you're really playing with something real, for me, it created this feeling of I got a whole invisible team on my side that's helping direct this whole show. And the pressure is off my shoulders because I have help. And I used to put so much pressure on myself. So, like you said, once it comes into flow, and I previously experienced this life of forcing it, which feels awful. I'm like, yes, please, to flow and to faith. And when I went traveling, it was actually like my test. I was like, okay, let me see if what I'm really speaking to and believing here is the real deal. And that's why I wrote that letter to God, to the universe, and I put it all on the line and I said, show me, and I trust you, and I trust me. And I see it no different from the external to the internal. So if I'm trusting the unseen higher powers that be that I'm a part of, then I get to equally trust my heart, my gut feeling, right? Someone who doesn't even believe in faith, people have gut feelings. You know, you have a feeling of like, maybe why I should do this, maybe I should do that, maybe this person's good for me, maybe they're not. It's all the same thing. So, I tell people, start like meet yourself halfway and start where you can. You know, you have feelings; those are very real, and those are faith driven as well. I forgot your original question. I think it was about faith or flow. I'm not even sure if I
I have no idea, man. You had me so locked in there. I forgot. I should. I, it
yes,
just
the
opened
flow
up
though.
so many more doors, like the ones behind you that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
But
the red and the blue pill right here. The
yeah,
two.
I'd pick a door, blue or red. I have no idea what the question was, but all I know is your answer was epic.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
But
So is the question.
that word though, trust, trust, trust. Why is it so freaking hard to let go and trust, right? It's like that silly that silly exercise or whatever they call it that they do in these corporate retreats where you get six of your workmates and you fall backwards and they catch you. You have to trust that your team's there to catch you, and pick you up. But when you talk about what you went deep there with the spirit. Trust the spirit, trust the flow, just like let it go. I mean, when you're working with people and you're doing your coaching and you're speaking, I mean, why? When you run into these people, why can't we let it go? Why can't we trust? Why do we hold on so freaking tight to something we hate?
Yeah, that's a great question because I think we're just all conditioned that way, and it's how the collective of the world is conditioned. I think most people, I'll just say we all, because we don't get taught this stuff young. We get taught that life is external. It's our circumstances that dictate everything. It's the hand that we were dealt that determines how we feel or what's possible for us in our lives. So we naturally don't see much possibility because we all come from families that probably had some kind of imbalances in there, some issues, right? We have traumas as kids. We really just don't naturally learn the best way to be with ourselves or what our natural power is. So we get stuck and rely on grasping to the outside world to be okay. Like we fear for our survival and think that we either need more or we need different or I have to work harder or whatever it is. So trust is never taught. It's just not. Trust is an internal thing. Life is an internal game. Your reality outside of you changes when you change yourself inside. We are all energy, and similar energy attracts similar energy. It's what happened to me in sales. It's like, oh, you mean the more I work on myself and do what I enjoy, then sales just start falling in my lap and I don't have to actually figure out this whole thing and work so hard? Wow, I would love more of that in my life. So I feel we do need the evidence of the trust. Like with anything, we still live in this 3D real world and, we have brains and we're humans and we're sponges, we suck everything up. We need some evidence to be like, yeah, this is real. But I feel there's this bridge that gets to be crossed from where we've been raised to where we're going to this trust and to this faith. And we've got to walk through some fear and do some things that we're not used to doing and go for some things where we can't see the outcomes to create that trust within ourselves to be able to say, wow, you know what? I was scared. I acted courageously and it worked. Like I got the thing, I got the result. I had a breakthrough. I felt some joy, whatever it is. And then that helps us, the next time. And it's just it's like a snow it's a big bridge to cross and it takes time. I think we need the right community also to help us do it. I just made this post about firewalking, and I kind of use firewalks as a metaphor in my life. Like
Mhm.
back in the day, many traditions would walk across fire barefoot, and that would really test like your that would really test your faith, your presence, your courage, all of that.
Your sanity.
our sanity, right? All of that. But whenever we go for something meaningful in our lives and we're not really sure that we're going to be able to do it, that's a firewalk for us. And if we walk our own firewalk, we'll develop more trust with ourselves.
Yeah. You touched on a bunch of great stuff there, brother. I almost think it's the opposite. I think growing up, we're taught more of distrust. It's
Mm.
like not only are we not taught trust growing up, I think we're taught to distrust. We're taught to not totally trust ourselves. Oh, you can't do that. Or you're taught, don't trust that person, or don't trust this, don't trust that. And so you're conditioned to just not trust shit, let alone your own feelings and stuff. And the other thing you touched on, which I think is so crucial, especially in sales. I mean, like I said, I'm a real estate broker by trade. I just do this for a hobby because I love meeting great people like you. But in sales, you have to be authentic. You can't push. I mean, I can't force someone to buy a house. I mean, but when they learn that you really give a shit about them and their family and finding what they want or helping them with their particular circumstance and you're authentic, it changes everything. And I think that's a challenge with most salespeople is that they're not authentic. They think they have to be a certain salesy kind of way, and we all know that that turns people off, right? So that authenticity that you mentioned is huge.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they see people buy from people that they trust. And, even for me, like as a young guy, I just took what I was kind of trained to do. They all give you a training in sales, and I probably wasn't myself. And that's probably like, where I felt that most resistance was like, I feel like I'm forcing something again, you know? And when it got better, I was just being me, not trying too hard to sell. You're absolutely right. It's like it's an immediate turnoff. You can smell it a
Yeah.
mile away. And excuse me, what's interesting is I'm being called to heal my relationship with sales right now because I had so much negativity on that profession, more because of that time of my life and what I was going through, that I tried so hard to escape it. And now I've come full circle after developing myself and gaining some life experience to where now in coaching and speaking and creating programs to help people, guess what I got to do?
You
I
got to
gotta
sell
sell
yourself, brother.
myself. I gotta sell myself, So it's like the hero's journey, and it's like, all right, let's try this again now from a new place.
But it's so much different when you're selling yourself, and it's just a completely uh different phenomenon because you're a super likable dude, right? And you could feel that you're passionate about what you're doing. You could feel that you care about people. So what you're selling now is really a gift. It's like, listen, I want to give you this gift. It's cool if you don't want it. I'll keep it or I'll try to give it to someone else, but I'm not trying to give you something I don't care. I truly care that you get this, and I truly care that this helps you. And you could feel it. I mean, it comes out of you. So I'm sure that sell, although there's lots of people who do what you do, I'm sure that sell is a little bit easier than whatever you're selling before.
Yeah, it's a great assessment, and for me, it's a matter of alignment. I'm now aligned with my true self. Like it took me a while to get some of the stuff out of the way that wasn't mine, that I was kind of blocking me from tuning in to who I was. And now that I'm clear on my values, what does light me up, my purpose, the cause that I do want to give myself to in the world, and what I do naturally, like you said, gifts. Like we all have gifts, and there's nothing greater than the gift of being able to give someone just support so that they discover their own gift, and we're just gifting each other. So then it flows much more naturally. And yes, back then it was like, I'm not really sure if I believe in the product that I'm selling. I was like, I've seen this thing go wrong so many times with people, and I'm like taking their money, and I'm like, I know they're going to call me a week from now. And what am I going to do?
Yeah, Yeah, that makes it a little bit more difficult, when you're especially when you're a passionate person about giving and helping like you are, your spirit comes through you. I'm just now meeting you on a Zoom, but it does. It comes through, you could feel that you're giving. So what was it what
Yeah.
was it like? I think I saw a video. I'm almost positive it was you of your very first talk when you got to do your very first talk in front of people. Is that your video you posted of you doing that?
Yeah, I think I know the one that you're speaking of. I was
What did that feel
probably
like when you first got up there and like, shit, I'm really gonna do this?
Yeah, well, it was my firewalk. It was an embodied experience that gave me the evidence and showed me I'm a speaker, and this is what I've always wanted to do. I just didn't know it at the time. Now, first, what came in is I was living in Peru. I was like 3.5 years into this journey, and I'm like, well, still can't find the calling, the purpose. I'm like, damn, it's been 3.5 years, God. I'm like, what's up? I got more questions than answers. And out of the blue, storytelling got dropped into my life. And there was a little cafe that wanted to create like a community storytelling night where people could come up and they could share a life story and a lesson. And they asked me if I wanted to MC it and host it. I said, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like fun. So that's the first time I started kind of speaking to an audience, and I had so much fun with it. And then the experience I think you're referring to is what happened is, again, this breadcrumb trail, right? Keep on following the excitement and passion, what feels good. A friend tossed me this Instagram reel by this guy named Nick Santanastasso. He's a world famous speaker. He's been on stage with Tony Robbins and all this good stuff. And Nick was running a free challenge called Unleash Your Story. And it was a 5 day online free challenge all about storytelling and becoming a professional speaker. Well, I did that and enjoyed it so much that I took this other huge leap and went to train with Nick. I left my life in Peru. I made a massive financial investment that I didn't even have. I put it on a credit card, but I was like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. So when I got to see him in person, he brought us into this state of the art studio, and they created such an amazing experience for us where we first got trained how to put our keynote speech together, and then we got to get on stage under the lights and everybody was cheering for us. They gave us a whole like intro and edification for yourself. You got to come on to music. I came on dancing, and it's like I got to deliver what we would call like my zero to hero story. First time I had like a microphone, around my head. I was like, this is the real thing, and I learned that I come alive when I'm in front of people, and that's where my energy is the highest, and that's a clear indicator for me that that's my playground, that's my element. And I walked off that stage, it was like, this is just the start. This just ignited it. And yeah, I've been working on it since then. That was just 6 months ago.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
I watched the video. It was awesome. It was epic.
Cool.
You could tell you were jonesing, man. I mean, you were like, "Oh, yeah, give me more of this stuff. I'm loving this action." It was good, bro. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Thank
watching
you.
you, and I could feel the passion that was coming out of you. I didn't know it was in that type of setting. Um,
Yeah, we had two. I did like an interview with Nick sitting down in a chair, and then we had this other one where it's like a whole stage, and they even put a massive screen up behind you with your
that one.
picture on it. Yeah, that one. Yep, that's the one.
That was a good one.
Cool,
I love.
cool.
So, how did you spinning off a little bit because I'm a squirrel?
Yeah.
But how did you? How'd you pick? Did you pick your 14 countries, or did they just kind of like, I'm hanging out here, why don't I go over there? Or I met somebody and said, hey, you should go over there. Or how did you pick your 14 countries?
Yes and yes. When I when I started, I had no plan. I asked myself, I said, what kind of places would I be interested in going? And because of my spiritual studies and practice, I understood the law of vibration. And I said, if I can get myself into a setting where I'm vibrating the highest, where I'm in the highest emotional state that feels good, this passion, this excitement, well, then naturally my purpose will be attracted to me because that's the best manifestation state. This was literally like my philosophy or shot in the dark of what I thought I was doing. So I said, I want to travel to like vortexes around the planet. I want to go to these energetic places and portals and nature and see what it's all about. Right when I said that, and I randomly said, I'm going to go travel for 2 years. It was just a guess. I said, let me see if I can make it that long. At the same time, I had a spiritual teacher that came to me and she said, Mike, I'm creating a mystery school online. And mystery schools are ancient day schools thousands of years ago where like sages would go through real tests to cultivate wisdom and then come back to humanity and help them with it. So she made a modern day one where we had classes online, but we were going to travel to four really powerful energetic vortex places over the span of 2.5 years. I'm like, yo, another synchronicity. I'm like, this is dope. This is going to be the infrastructure for my travels. I'll meet up with the group and then I'll go travel other places on my own. So I randomly just picked like Sedona, Arizona as my first one. And what happened is I ended up traveling around the Midwest and falling in love with nature and hiking. I had never been really in nature in that kind of way. And it was the greatest thing I had ever done. And then from there I just said, all right, what's like the easiest step to kind of step off the US with? I was going through my money really fast, so I was like, man, I got to get out of the country. I got to go where it's cheaper. So I started in Costa Rica and I ended up going Costa Rica, Bolivia, Guatemala. I made it over to Europe, England, France, Portugal. Made it over to the east and the Middle East, and I was in Israel and Jordan. Um, yeah, what was it? Israel, Jordan. Like came back to lived in Peru on and off for 2 years, then went out to Southeast Asia just because I always wanted to. Like there are little things that would pull me. I was in Vietnam, Japan, Bali. So there were little reasons. Like I went to Portugal one winter because I love Christmas lights, and I just heard they had good Christmas lights, so I went. South America really lit me up with the mountains and shamanism and getting to work with healers there. And I went out to, the Southeast Asia because I always dreamed of living on a rice field in Bali. And I also have a connection through my lineage to Japan, and I wanted to explore that. But I would often just like say a prayer, ask spirit. I'd be like, hey, show me where I'm going next. I have no idea. And like I'd open my phone sometimes and just some post would come up from a friend. They'd be like, I'm in Japan right now. I'd be like, I guess this is it.
Shit, I'm going to Japan.
I guess I'm going to Japan. God says go, you know, how could I not?
Yeah, you said vibrations, and that's a word that I vibe on, no pun intended. But you can feel something like we talked about faith and we talked about flow. But there's also vibrations. I mean, when you're really in it, when you could say you're really in the flow, or you could really feel that spiritualness or something, there is a vibration that changes, and you could feel it from other people. When some dick walks in, you're like, dude, that guy's got some bad vibrations. You know what I mean? So when you can kind of over vibe somebody, when your vibrations are so strong and they're pumping and you're producing these awesome emotions and vibes and just energy, it's contagious, and you can give it to people. You could give them your vibrations. We're just an energy source. We can keep creating more of it, but I love how you said vibrations, because it's a big deal when you could start feeling those vibrations of what you're doing, right?
Yeah, you said it immediately when you're like, I vibe with it, but no pun intended. It's true, and it's that simple. It's like, what do you vibe with? What do you not vibe with? And when I used to be in particular work environments, it's like sometimes there'd be people that just complain all day long, and you feel it. You're like, God, this is bringing me down. It makes my stomach shrink and my back heel over, and I just want to dart the other direction. But when something feels good, like you hear your favorite song, and you're jamming out and the mood is right and you're like, wow, or dolphins, it's like more of this. And with vibrations and energy, we attract more of what we produce and focus on. Wherever our focus and attention goes is what we get back, is what expands. So I just understood that if I could find more environments and ways to access passion and feeling good and gratitude's a huge one, then you start to experience more of that in the world. I listened to this guy Bashar. He channels an alien group. Actually, it's called Bashar. It's a different guy's name who channels them. And this one group is
He
always
channels what?
an alien.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Well, listen,
That's
when you
awesome.
listen, you're like, yo, this knowledge is on point. But he talks about like the key to human life and to accessing who you are is by following your highest excitement the best that you can. And he says, listen, if you're always down about stuff and you have passions or maybe you have some guesses at what they could be, but you're not acting on them, then why would God give you more things to be passionate about if you're not already using what you got? So when you start acting on them, you're engaging with life in such a way that you're saying, I'm here, I'm ready, and I want to be a part of it. And then life, God, spirit says back, I'm going to give you more of that feeling now through more experiences in your life. So it's like I see it as the way you pull up to the table. Naturally, we're going to have shitty days, we're going to have like really tough times, we're going to have our seasons. But if we can use our willpower and keep coming back to the table and remember, gain little tools along the way and what works and helps us shift our emotional states, it starts to become more of that higher emotional state more of the time.
Yeah, like you mentioned the secret and the law of attraction and all these different things, they're all so true. I mean, these guys came up with a good gig, Abraham, and there's I just read so many things about the law of attraction.
Mm.
And it's just so true, but it's also so difficult, because it's kind of like you said, it's like, dude, I'm out of here. I got no clue where I'm going. I don't have a bunch of dough, so I'm going to try to make this stretch as long as I can. Maybe if I can make it 2 years, that'd be freaking awesome. Don't know what country as I'm going to. They're going to kind of expose themselves, right? But so you're not sure exactly what you're trying to attract, right? I don't,
Yep.
I know I'm attracting something. There's something out there, right? But I don't know what it is. So sometimes that law of attraction thing isn't 100% correct because you have to know what you want first. You have to find it or it exposes itself, and then you can really work on the attraction. And I think you took your time and found it. And then when it exposed itself to you, man, that's when you just started attracting the shit out of it and just pulled it in, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I would say I also just focused in the beginning on how do I want to feel. And that
Mm.
became kind of the North Star for since I didn't really know what the thing was, right? And you have to start somewhere. So if something made me feel a certain way, or like I said, it was a guess. I was like, I think travel's gonna make me feel like this because it's just something I can't get out of my mind that I really want to try, right? But it's even why we chase money and relationships and houses and job promotions and even purpose. Why? Because I want to feel how I think it's going to make me feel when I get it. But it's often not through that very thing that has us feel that way, right? Like we can feel it even without that thing. But, I along the way I saw this as like no better journey to take. Like to opening my heart and feeling more. And
Yeah.
it took a while. It took a while, man. There's a lot of patience that had to come with it, and it wasn't all rainbows. I mean, I even experienced the most depressive moments of my life on the road, trials, tribulations, all of it. But what I gained from that and the things that showed up in those moments like were just unbelievably beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it comes back to the faith. You had faith that something, somehow, some way, I've got faith that I'm on the right path. I have no clue what the path is. I have no clue where I'm going, but I got faith that I'm going to get to something. And what you said about feeling, I mean, you knew that one thing made you feel better than another.
Yeah.
And we still focus on the stuff that makes us feel bad for some odd reason. I don't know if we torture ourselves, we don't think we're worthy, we don't think we earn it or whatever. But we stay in a pretty shitty state a lot of times. We don't. let ourselves feel good. And if we do, we catch ourselves and go, "Oh, I can't feel too good." I don't want what would the neighbors think if they knew I felt good all the time, right? So I think catching that vibe of feeling good. I want to feel good. Is big, because you could do that, right? Like you said, you don't have to have a specific goal. You don't have to have a specific vision. You just have to focus on, hey, I just want to feel good. How can I get that vibe working for me?
Totally, totally. I mean, that could be your North Star right there. And, it shows you when you're in and out of alignment with your true self is if something's really making you not feel good, it's a no. And that's not, I'm not talking about like, it's not a black or white statement, right? Like you're
Yeah.
going to have your days, you're going to go through your struggles, even when you're doing what's important to you. But when you're up to something and you're like, this is killing me. And I have no desire to see on the other side. There's no big why in it for me. There's nothing attached, to me. But wanting to feel good is a beautiful journey to go on, and you'll experience feeling bad along the way because that's going to help you kind of cut it down and show you what's not for you as well. Yeah, totally.
So you're on this journey. You're bebopping around to 14 different countries. You're experiencing all this amazing stuff, good, bad, and indifferent. Um, when did it come to you and go, all right, I got to go home. I found my North Star, like you said. This is what I'm meant to do. I found it. I found
Mhm.
my special purpose. Um, then what did you do? I mean, did you just go, well, shit, now I got to call mom and borrow a couple $100 to get home so I can start my training? Or what did you do once you were sure, once you were sure that, hey, here's my calling, what did you do?
Yeah, I'm thinking of this Steve Martin line when you just said find my special
My
purpose.
special purpose.
I can't remember the
This
movie, but
movie,
it's
it's a
a
line
fun
from The
movie.
Jerk.
The Jerk,
I
that's it.
found my
That's it.
special purpose.
I love
That's
that.
why I laughed when I said it, 'cause I'm like, oh, shit.
I knew you were referring. It was so good. Yeah. Okay. So if I bring it back to feeling as a guiding force for me, what started to happen is along my travels, I started to feel an emptiness inside of me that started to grow. It was like in my gut. It was like, man, something's missing again, just like I felt before I went traveling. And the awareness that was coming in was that it was time for me to build something. As a man, I needed to feel a sense of purpose and have my hands in something and creating something in my life. It was travel, but I was traveling kind of flying by the wind, kind of just like getting to go where I want. I was very much in that feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy. Feminine is flow and creativity and spirit and all that. And I felt my masculine side saying, all right, now I want to build my kingdom. I think I need a little bit more structure, direction, and to build something, but I still don't really know what it is. So it was like my feeling was pushing me closer to this thing that I still didn't know what it was. And like I said, I was about 3.5 years in, kind of saying, all right, I got more questions than answers. Like, what is it? It's my faith. And I was running out of money at the same time. It's my faith that kept guiding me. And I take these signs and synchronicities in my life as the guide to where to go next. So I remember I was out in Southeast Asia, just finished up Japan, Vietnam, Bali, and I was like, well, I feel complete with travel. I actually went all the places that I truly desire to go. Like I'll want to go to more places in my life, but like this feels like a wrap. Now what? And my goddaughter called me and she said, Mike, I really want to go to Peru. I was living in Peru prior to this in a beautiful community out there, a nice expat community in the Sacred Valley. She wanted to go to Peru, and I always made a deal with her that if she went, I would meet her there. And she wanted to go there for some natural healing. She had Crohn's disease. So she was like investigating and also seeing her mom there, who's one of my best friends. And she's like, will you come and meet me? And I said, that's a strong enough sign for me to go back to Peru. I said, I don't know why, but I'll follow it. Feels like it's done out here in Southeast Asia. So I went back to Peru to meet her. That's when the storytelling came into my life. And that's when it felt like this new thing that I didn't plan on that put me on stage. And storytelling taught me, now I have a story to give back. And I didn't know it, but I'm like, oh, and storytelling is this super powerful tool that helps people transform their lives. I could help other people tell their stories. And so that's when like one thing started leading me to the next and led me to my mentor Nick. Now, I won't even say the amount. It was a very large sum investment that I had to put in myself that I did not have in my pocket to come train with Nick. But I had this zero APR credit card I took out for another program a couple months ago that I didn't do. And it was like one of those moments again where I was like, I have this card. So I came back to train with him, and I've been in the States and I've been feeling incredible support from my family and friends that have helped me along the way and given me a little bit of financial stability. And I am rebuilding, from zero, really, essentially. And a lot of people would be like, oh, yeah, but no money. Like, oh my God, like, why would you do that? Because I have all the faith in the world that as I keep following my purpose, my calling, my faith, that's a byproduct. The money will come back. So I just kept trusting, man. It was the gut feeling and then trusting and then the synchronicity of where to go. And then it redirected me onto this path where I finally had this aha moment. And I'm like, oh, I've been traveling for 4 years. I just went through a whole university again. I don't remember anything from my first 4 years at real college, but now I went through World University, my new classroom. And now it's life is telling me now you need to give this back through speaking.
That's that's such a great story because the truth of the matter is, we as just humans, we need purpose and we need structure. I mean, we just do. I mean, you see it all the time. You could have the most high-powered executive with $100 million in the bank, and the dude retires, and 2 years later he dies. I mean, he had no purpose, right? The dude, he used to be a high-powered executive, or, you see it in so many areas. As humans, we just need a purpose, and with purpose comes structure. I'm not a structure guy. I started out washing dishes and bussing tables and waiting tables, and now I'm a real estate broker for 35 years. I've never had a job. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I mean, I've never had a paycheck. No one's out. I waited tables. If I didn't make money that night, I don't have any money. If I don't sell a house, I don't have any money. I've never had a paycheck. I don't think I could live in a structured environment. It wouldn't, I couldn't do it. But like you said, in that 4 years, you got more education than you ever could have asked for. So what are you doing with it now? Tell us a little bit about your coaching and what you're doing and how you're putting this all together.
sure, sure. And I'm similar to you, Gary. Same thing with structure. It's like I just push it away sometimes. I'm learning to balance that.
Good.
Very much a free spirit. Now, I've been coaching one on one where I'll mentor people for maybe a span of 3 months and help them get in touch with their heart, their true self, what they really want, develop the confidence and courage to go for it. And I'm really just a space where they can kind of be themselves and find their own wisdom because they have their answers, not me. And through speaking, I'm applying for stages. I'm looking for places to talk where I can inspire people to take that step, to create the courage to go for what they want and to tap into what's true for them underneath the surface of all of the influence, right, of society and past. So telling my stories and sharing lessons through that. And the most recent thing, I'm launching my first group coaching program this January. It's going to be a 6 week group coaching program. We'll all get together live on a call for 90 minutes every week. There'll be homework or what I call heart work in between to help integrate things into your life. It's going to be fun. It's going to be transformative. I'm running a free workshop next week all about alignment with your true self before I do that. So I'm stepping a lot into the group coaching world. And in honesty, I'm still at the beginning of the speaking career. So I'm applying for stages right now and searching for places where there's that audience that wants authenticity in their lives.
Yeah. And you've got what it takes. I mean, it comes across. And I talk to a lot of people and interview a lot of people and just around a lot of people, unfortunately, because I don't really like people that much. But but um but you could feel when someone's authentic, and you could feel when something makes sense, and you have to have a good story. You have to have a good story. I mean, everybody who wants to be a speaker or a coach or a trainer, not everybody's likable, right? Like we talked about before. I mean, someone could have the greatest message in the world, but if you just suck as a person, it's just not going to.
Yeah.
But you come across really well. You're really engaging. You've got a great story. You could feel you've got a great heart, and I just you just keep following this path. It's gonna keep taking off for you. Not everyone has that to share like you have to share. You did the work. Um, you you threw everything to the wind, brother. I mean, at 37 years old, you just go, screw it, I'm out of here and travel the world. That's not easy to do. So I give you massive kudos, brother. I mean, you've got this. Just keep going at it. Keep pushing it.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate the reflection. It always helps, who doesn't love when someone sees them, we want to be seen. And yeah, just being in places like this with you, and you've made it easy on this podcast. I've been on a bunch of podcasts, and just what you said kind of about other people. There's a lot of podcast hosts that are kind of trying to do it, but it's not really there. You easily know the places to tune into and the questions to ask intuitively. So it's been really nice just to chat with you. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I always wrap up with one question. I know I always give everybody the "what if you could" question, but that one's easy. So I always ask one last question as we signed off, and basically the question is, if there's something you could leave our listeners with, right? A thought, a message, a quote you've heard, something you learned on your travels. If there's something that really means something to Michael, right, that you would love to give and share as we sign off, what would that thought be that you'd like to share with us?
Mm. You are a gift, and life is a gift. And if you can frame your perspective about yourself and your life as it all being a gift, it will work in a completely different way for you. You will know what's truly possible. And if you are willing, that's what makes it able. So keep going.
I love that, man. And that's my message right back to you. You're a gift. Just keep giving it. I mean, I don't care if there's 5 million speakers out there, 5 million trainers out there. Everyone thinks they can do it. Like I said, I did coaching in real estate for many years, and I've seen lots of them come and go. And you could either have it or you don't, and I think you've got it, and you are a gift. You just keep going at it, brother, because you'll get there. One of these days, I'm gonna get some text coming across my phone that says, "Yeah, for only $97,000, Michael Rosenberg." And he's gonna think she's like, "Oh shit, I knew that
Uh,
guy one time."
yeah, that's funny, man. Get it while the cost is still low in the
I'm
beginning.
telling you, come see Michael now, all right? Because pretty soon he's gonna be Tony, man.
Oh,
All
that's
right, my
funny.
brother, you've been great. This has been wonderful. I cannot thank you enough for sharing this with me. So, how does everybody reach Michael Rosenberg? How can we'll post it on the podcast and stuff too. But just if you got a spiel or you got something you want to tell us what's coming up, let us know.
Yeah, the best place is my website, and that is www.wakeupwithmike.com. All my offerings are there for speaking, for coaching, for upcoming workshops, and if you just want to know more about me. And I'm on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, usually at Wake Up with Mike or Michael Rosenberg.
Wakeupwithmike.com. I love
Yeah.
that.
Let's wake up, baby. Let's be some
Love
light.
it. Wake up
Yeah.
because we're all freaking asleep. Jeez, let's wake
Yeah.
up. All right, my brother. Everybody, you've been exposed to the awesome Michael Rosenberg. Wake up with Mike, and really, it's this hour just blew by. I really appreciate your time. This was really good, man.
Yeah, it was so much fun for me. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. All right, guys, tune in to an upcoming episode of the What If You Could podcast, and we will see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.